What's up? Daddy is back. Back in business. We'll wait for people to come in. And I'll tell you all about my mothership experience, which was positive. Now, my Wi Fi, here we go. We're going to switch over to Earl's iPhone for optimum Wi Fi. On a Sunday night. I know you have a lot of viewing options. So I appreciate the 6 people in here. We are the little stream that could. There's no stream sniping in this stream. We're all business. It's a happy stream. I stream, you stream, we all stream. But I was at the Austin comedy scene this week. One night only, Thursday night only. And it was a very worthwhile trip to go to Austin, Texas. Now, the trip started off in a rough way. Has my I was there, Santos. I was there. You missed a doozy. But I was flying out of Los Angeles at 11 a.m. Was due to get to Austin about 3:45. We're on the tarmac for about 45 minutes. We're next up to fly. All of a sudden, I hear the engines shutting down and an announcement. Dear Delta passengers, I'm so sorry. I've just run into overtime and the tower is not letting us take off. So we have to go back to the terminal and find you replacement pilots. Apparently, my crew had gone on a 6-hour journey from Orlando, Florida to Los Angeles. And this particular pilot is not allowed to fly more than 9 hours. So literally, if he's in the air, like if we could have gotten the plane to take off, it's fine. But, I don't know the exact rules. But apparently, if you are on the ground and you're not in the air, you can't fly anymore once you hit your OT, basically. And both pilots looked like they were pissed that there was an older pilot who was the main pilot, I guess, and then the younger pilot was like 6'9". He was going around to everyone in first class because I wasn't in the back with the pores. I'm so sorry. We tried. We really tried. And I could tell they wanted to go. And then there was a guy who was so pissed as we were going back to the terminal. He just gets up and tries to use the bathroom. And he was very irate. You could tell he'd been drinking. And the stewardess tried to stop him. He was in coach, of course. He tried to barnstorm the first class cabin, and he did. And he's telling the stewardess to fuck off, and he got very aggressive. Unbeknownst to him, there was a group of 4 cowboys in the front row of first class, 2-by-2 seating. and they started getting pissed at him because they were drunk. Like, they had been drinking from the terminal to the seat, and the whole 45 minutes we were on the ground. Of course, I made friends with them. An enemy of an enemy is a friend. And so they started getting in this guy's face. And I'm not saying there was going to be a brawl, but these cowboys were down. And then we had to wait another 2 hours to find pilots. Of course, it's Los Angeles, so wherever they're coming from, there's going to be traffic. And then we were on the tarmac for another 45 minutes. Finally got to Austin at like 7:30 at night. So I literally went from the airport straight to Red Band's show and started my comedy evening at the Sunset Club in Austin, Texas. And it was awesome. Place was packed. I saw a bunch of LA comics I hadn't seen in a while. And just a good, well, private private's a endeavor that I would fly private if I was doing like a fat theater gig making 50, 70, 80 grand or whatever, but I'm not in that category yet. So, and then I walked over to the Mothership, and that place is amazing. I mean, it's literally a comics club built by a comic. Like, there's nothing. So the set at the first gig went as well as it could have. I was a little tired, but I Matt Edgar, fellow Comedy Store comic, he brought me up, gave me a very nice introductionis, and then I walked over to the Mothership, and it was pretty amazing. Like, there's really not one thing I would do differently to that club. Usually there's at least one thing you would go, I would do this differently. No, the manager, you're going to have to go to the Ice House, William Zoom, to have that type of managerial system in place. And they did not lasso this guy on the plane, William, but they would have. I mean, these guys were all big dudes. Like, I'm probably right now 6'1", 200. These guys were all bigger than me. Yes, I did go on Red Band's show, and I did very, very well. So then I went to the Mothership, and I was shown around. I mean, it's a intimidating place because there's like so many hallways and behind the scenes corridors, and I'm finally led up to the green room, and first person I see is Joe Rogan. He gets up, gives me a big hug, says, "Welcome to my club." I said, "Thanks for having me." And then Tony Hinchcliffe, Brian Simpson, um, a couple Austin comics who I didn't know, but they were very friendly. And then Brian Holtzman. And I went on third in the lineup. And, it's such a big, like, it's just so many hallways. I didn't know how to get to the stage. So David Jolly, who was the first comic on the show, he's like, "I'll take you." Now, most comics just, make a right, make a left, and do this, could do that. He actually walked me to the stage. And so David Jolly, thank you very much. I'm assuming you're not listening. And then CJ Landry was an Austin comic who I've never met before. He gave me like the nicest intro. Hey, this guy's an LA legend and all that. And I had a very good set. 10 minutes on the nose. Everyone does 10 minutes. And in the reversal of things, I brought up Matt Edgar, my Comedy Store buddy. And the favorite thing about the Mothership for me is there is a countdown clock or count up clock in the back of the room that the crowd doesn't see, but the comic sees. So nobody runs the light. Like, every single comic got off exactly at 10 minutes. You didn't do a second after 10 minutes. Now, maybe that's because Joe was there too. And in the green room, they have two TVs with the same clock in the corner of the TV. Uh, one TV is for the big boy room, and then uh, the other TV is for the littler room. And so everyone in the green room knows how much time you're doing. So nobody runs the light. It was awesome. Uh, which, at other clubs, pretty much everyone runs the light, which sucks for a comic like me because, I go on toward the end of the lineup. So, if every comic runs the light by, say, 5 minutes, and there's 7, 8 comics on the show, the show's running anywhere from a half hour to an hour behind. So I have to get up there and try and re-energize a dead crowd. So, um, but no one does that at the Mothership. And then the hang is downstairs in Mitzi's bar, which is an homage to the owner of the Comedy Store. And I saw a bunch of waitresses who now work there from the Comedy Store, the manager, and it was like a family reunion. It was awesome. There's not one thing that I wish would have happened that didn't. And then the next day, I was on a plane back home. I dipped my toes in. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to go there for like a week and bomb the first night and then have to stay there. Paulie was there. He was not at the Mothership. He was at Red Band's show. He was very nice. He just looked at me at the green room of Red Band show. Skako, how's it going, buddy? So yeah, it was really a perfect one night experience. Then on the plane ride back, great plane ride, no problems. Sat next to a lady. I could tell she was a businesswoman, and she's like, "What do you do?" "I'm a comic." "Oh, I produce comedy specials for this network." "Oh, hey." So it was really a perfect. And then last night, I had a great set at the Comedy Store following Sarah Weinshank, who brought me up, gave me a very nice intro. Jeremy Piven, I don't believe would be booked at Joe Rogan's club ever. But I don't want to speak for Joe, so I don't know. I did exchange info with her, but it's just I have not had the best luck meeting people who can help me, but this trip I did. And when I was walking around Austin on Friday afternoon, and I had lunch with my good buddy, the booker of the Mothership, Adam. So it was good to see him. And then I just walked around Austin, and it was great. Like, I was walking, I guess it's like their outdoor shopping mall, and a bunch of probably 10 Austin college kids were like, "Earl, we were at the show last night. Fuck yeah." And then a couple, as I was getting into the Uber from the airport, was like, "Hey, you were our favorite one last night." So it was a very good trip. Is Sarah moving to Austin? I don't know. I mean, it's a great comedy city, that's for sure. I mean, when some of my friends who've moved to Austin had heard that I was there, and I was only there for one night, so I couldn't do a lot. Um, I was getting all these offers to play shows, and they all pay. And so I think you go to Austin to make money. You're not going to make money in LA comedy unless you're a big name. And I'm not a big name, so. But luckily, I make a decent chunk of change with voiceover stuff. If I didn't, I don't know if I would move to Austin, but I'm definitely going to go there more. The crowd did seem, actually, the Comedy Store crowds are pretty young. So that was about even in terms of that. And the other thing I really love about Joe's Club is that they don't take your phones, they lock them. And so the crowd, I think it's a better experience. Before I don't think that's right. You take people's phones and lock them up. What if you have a family emergency or something? Uh, but I really noticed from the stage, and I was only up there for 10 minutes, but um, the crowd's much more into the show because they can't be disturbed. They can't take a video, they can't text their friend. Like they have to pay attention to the show. Like last night at the Comedy Store, which is my home base, there's a girl in the front row on her phone the whole time I was there. And she was texting someone, but like, and I kind of made a joke about it. She looked up at me and she kind of, I think she felt, oh, he busted me. I said, keep texting. I don't care. And so she goes back to texting. But because her friend was watching me the whole time and she was loving the show, but this girl was just too busy. She wasn't listening. The friend who was listening was hot, beautiful black woman. The other friend was, I mean, she was nice. She wasn't being a bitch or anything. But like, if I bust you, said, "Hey, you can keep texting," I'm not telling you to keep texting. I'm trying to be cool and saying, "Hey, put the phone down. You're literally in the front row." But I did see homeless in Austin. There's definitely, it didn't seem to be as much as the last time I was there about 2 years ago, but um, there was absolutely some homeless people there. And I guess in the summer it gets very hot in Austin. So, it's going to be interesting if I go back there in the summer in my leather pants. Yeah, I probably should have, but I don't want to get kicked out of the Comedy Store. I mean, the crowd at the darkness is there to see Justin Hawkins. I don't know. I mean, I had about 10 to 15 people there to see me last night. This girl was not one of them, or else I would have put the phone up their ass, up my ass. Um, well, the weather was pretty good, although I guess the day after I left yesterday, there was a severe thunderstorm. Oh, I'm sorry, AJ, I didn't answer your question. I mean, I don't know what it was before. Red Band turned it into a comedy club, but the ceilings aren't low. And, for those of you who don't understand a comedy room, in terms of the acoustics, it's always better when the ceilings are low because the sound really bounces off the walls. So it's like the energy never leaves the room. Like at, in the original room at the Comedy Store, the ceilings are low. So like when you have a good set there, you can really hear it. Now the main room, the ceilings aren't low, but they're not terribly high. But and Roast Battle really was made the energy because the belly room, the ceilings are very low, and the side walls are pretty close together. So when it's a popping room, you really can feel the energy. Um, so it was, but the crowds at Rogan's Club are so hot. Like, from the first joke to the last joke, I didn't have a joke that didn't work. And like they're very engaged, like they're listening, like, versus like some clubs, like I said, they're distracted, they're Instagramming, they're on Twitter, they're texting their friends, they're booty calls, hey, this guy's almost done, I'll be over in an hour. Um, there's none of that there. And they seem pretty happy about it. Like no one seemed like, I mean, I want my fucking phone, bro. Um, and then, the same, it was really the same at Red Band's Club, although I don't think they lock your phones there. You could tell, like, they're there for the comedy, which was awesome. Like, they really um, are there. And they don't even, the thing with Red Band show, it's a secret show. So the lineups aren't announced. So the crowd has no idea who's going to be on the show. So um, it's really pretty awesome to um, perform in a situation like that. Um, would you consider it a kill box? Well, The belly room is a kill box. Like, roast battle was magical on the nights where it was a good show, and because just the energy, the even front to back, the room's pretty small, so there's really nowhere for the noise to go. It just stays there. Um, I mean, I did take Virgil's death hard. Apollo Creed died. Tim Dr. Hook McCracken from Slapshot died. Give it up for days with Jordan the Lion, who was lucky enough this weekend to meet the great Steve Borden, aka it's Sting, right there, baby. Um, so all in all, I would give the Austin experience an A minus. The only reason it doesn't get an A plus was the Delta flight and the shenanigans that happened on there. But I will say Delta's crews, both ends of the trip were amazing. So thank you to the crew. They were just really good. And I think they felt protected on the flight going to Austin with the four cowboys. Um, they were big, big dudes. Like if anyone tried to open up the plane door, that happens a lot. For some reason, people just think, I think I want to open up the plane door. These guys would have beat the shit out of them. Yeah, I mean, they really did do Sting dirty in the WWE. AEW did do him right. It's a good time for AEW right now. They had the Mercedes Moné debut, CEO. CEO. I think it was a good debut. I don't think it was great. I would have done it differently myself. I'm always a fan of the double surprise. So what I would have done is everyone's expecting Mercedes Moné. I mean, we all know she was coming out. I would have had Britt Baker walk out first. She would have been booed, and she's a good heel. She's a good bitch. Probably should date her. And she could, it's almost like my idea for Sting coming in when Randy Orton's in the ring. And Randy Orton's doing the legend killer gimmick. I beat Hogan. I beat Angle. I beat The Rock. I beat this guy. I beat that guy. And then Sting comes down and goes, "You didn't beat me, bitch." I would have done the same thing where Britt Baker's like, I made this women's division. I beat Jamie Hayter. I beat Thunder Rosa. I beat Tony Storm. I beat Sky Blue. I beat Willow Nightingale, blah, 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 blah. And then Mercedes comes out and goes, "It's my house now, bitch." Um, yeah, I was at home. I'm telling you, I would be such an amazing writer for AEW, or just not even maybe even a writer, but an idea guy. Like that Britt Baker idea, that would have killed. But I do like how they are now. I believe Mercedes Moné has her own writer, um, so I think she'll be taken care of pretty good. I mean, I think they're teasing. Maybe Willow Nightingale has her first opponent. I'd be all right with that. I saw them wrestle in Long Beach for New Japan, but that's when she broke her ankle. I don't know if Willow was scheduled to go over in that match or not, but that's when Willow won the New Japan Women's Championship. But I'm okay with that. It's a good way to dip her toes in. Um, I did not get any Austin skin. I got a facial right before the airport because I had like 4 hours to kill. Bought some new Nikes. Like, I will say, if I ever move there, and I'm not, but I did find the area I would live in. It has everything I want. It has an Equinox, a nice mall, a couple of beauty places that I would go to. Well, I hope Bang Bang Scissor Gang is imploding. Jay White's got to be a singles guy. I mean, it is a very good time right now. And if they do this right, because I do like Jordan, how they are bringing in Okada as like the cocky heel. And this is clearly setting up a match with Omega down the road. And they've had some great matches in New Japan. And most of the people haven't seen them. So it's not going to be boring. Um, and I think you could do, like, you'd have to bring in Omega, Ibushi, and maybe one other. And I don't want to see a trios match. I want to see Omega and Okada. Um, and the Bucks could take on Ibushi and maybe someone else. Takesha's look. I mean, listen. I hope they don't burn out Osprey. I mean, he's already had 2 5-star matches against Kyle Fletcher and Takeshita. He's not even in AEW for 2 weeks, and he's killing it. But that style is going to catch up with him at some point. So, I'm going to watch the end of Collision. I don't know who won the House of Black tag match, so no spoilers. No spoilers, please. But, it's a good time in AEW right now. You got some momentum from Sting's last match. You've got Okada, Mercedes Moné. I'm sure Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker are coming sooner than later. So that's some more good opponents for Mercedes. I don't think Omega's coming back anytime soon. We are here, Easy 123, talking about AEW Pro Wrestling. But yeah, maybe Omega and Private Party. No, I'm just kidding. That would be horrible. So it's a good time right now for AEW. They've got momentum. Now it's all about what you do with Okada. Get him some good opponents. What you do with Mercedes Moné. What you do with Osprey. Like, there's some great potential matches for London and Dynasty. I mean, Dynasty has Osprey and Danielson. That'll be a great match. You've got so many New Japan guys over here. You've got Jay White and Osprey would be good. MJF and Osprey would be good. I don't know if there's a need for Omega Osprey 3, but you could say, hey, it's the rubber match. I wouldn't be against it. I hope they bring back Big Bill and Ricky Starks. That seems weird that they're the tag champs and then off of TV altogether. See, that's the weird thing with AEW. They do shit like that where you build up Big Bill and Starks as like a pretty good tag, and then they're off TV for 3 weeks. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, I mean, Osprey Dave is just, he's next level, man. Like I said, he's already had 2 matches, and they're 5-star matches, man. Like, that match with Takeshita was amazing. And then I thought, all right, 4 days later, he's going to match with Fletcher. That'll be like a puff match, 7, 8 minutes, and they'll give Osprey a rest, and it'll be just a couple basic moves. I mean, they killed each other. Okay, thank you, Jordan, for that info. And I think it's always good when there's a tournament. People get into that. So um, now it'll be interesting to see who they pair Darby Allin with. He needs a partner. So, that could be like kind of like the devil storyline. Who's the mystery partner for Darby? Maybe they give Darby a bye until the finals, so he comes out with whoever. Maybe it would be Omega. Maybe are the Bucks in the oh, is that legit? Did he really break his foot? Are they selling the injury? You never know with fucking wrestling, man. So we'll see. Yeah, I mean, Osprey's amazing. Like, I just worry that with the style that he wrestles, he's going to end up like Omega, where he's constantly hurt as he gets a little older. Now, he's not, I don't know how much younger he is than Omega, but so he's probably, his body can recover. But, I mean, they've got something special in Osprey. And he's good on the mic. Like, he's probably the best wrestler in the company now. And he's good on the mic. So he's the guy I would build the men's division around. Now he's kind of a face right now. I think he's better as a heel, but, um, I mean, I saw Osprey wrestle, at that same Long Beach show, Willow Nightingale, and, um, who else was that? Zack Sabre was on the show. It was kinda neat to be in a basketball arena, and it's where the Long Beach, college team plays, the Pyramid. Um, great, great card. I mean, I saw a lot of talented wrestlers. So, I mean, I'm hoping AEW seizes the ball with the bad publicity WWE has. Yes, The Rock is it's a big storyline, but after WrestleMania, that'll be gone. Um, so okay, I mean, but Omega's only like 37, I think, and his body's hurting, man, because you can't do that high flying. I mean, Omega and Osprey are almost like luchadors. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I see Julia Hart as a maybe in a year or so a good match for Mercedes, but I don't think she's ready for her just yet. I mean, what I would do is, you want to build up a good match for her for London. So, maybe Jamie Hayter comes back for that. Britt Baker. Um, I saw some black girl last night on Collision. She looked pretty good. I forget her name. I think it starts with an A. I don't think Sky Blue is ready for Mercedes. I mean, she's next. She's like the Osprey of female wrestlers. So I would hate to see them burn Julia Hart this early in her career. Um, so I mean, and Willow Nightingale's a great wrestler. Abaddon's kind of disappeared, but I could see Abaddon. I mean, I don't know. I don't see her and Mercedes meshing well in the ring, but Mercedes is so good. She probably would have a good match with Abaddon. Um, yeah, but I think, as a potential opponent, Dave, for Mercedes, I don't necessarily know if I would have. I mean, she's only 22. I'd rather see Julia Hart, maybe her and Sky Blue turn on each other. Maybe Julia Hart and Britt Baker, or Julia Hart and Jamie Hayter. That would be good. Um, I mean, the women's division in AEW is pretty deep, and that's not even counting Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker. So, it's exciting. AEW, the future is right if they do this correctly. Um, I don't watch stand up SCBID show. Um, Now at the Mothership, you're kind of, if you're in the green room, you're kind of forced to watch it because it's on the TV, but the sound's down. So, because I never want to hear someone do not a joke that I would be doing, but like hit a subject that I would be doing, because then that's going to fuck me up. Okay, I don't want to talk about homeless in Austin if Hinchcliffe talks about homeless in Austin. Um, So, Wheezy Jefferson, what up? I mean, Mike Tyson. I'm a fan of Willow. I mean, I'd like to see her turn evil, like evil Willow. I think that would be fun. She's a great wrestler for a girl her size. She's very good. So, uh, and she has good chemistry with Mercedes. So that makes sense. I mean, that makes me feel good about the direction they're going with Mercedes. That makes the most sense. uh, Having her in a match with Willow, because they have history from New Japan, and the match was very good up until the injury. Um, so Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul, who wins? I mean, I see Mike Tyson killing him. Mike Tyson's in pretty good shape, and Jake Paul, I think, thrives on intimidating his opponents because he picks non-boxers. Like he'll pick, Nate Robinson, the basketball player, or who was it, Ben Askren, the MMA fighter. And I think Ben Askren would have killed Jake Paul if you said, "Okay, you can do MMA against me." Ben Askren would have taken him down in 2 seconds and probably choked him out. Um, but I think, you're not gonna intimidate Mike Tyson. Now, I don't know if it's gonna be fixed. This is something I could definitely see them making a, wink, wink deal of, "Hey, Mike, just don't hit me in the liver, and, we'll just you hit me in the shoulders hard, and, I won't go after you," I mean, Mike Tyson at 58 is, you know I mean, I've seen some video of him hitting the bag. Now, of course, the bag doesn't hit back, but, uh, I mean, this is definitely Jake Paul's toughest opponent, which is saying something about his previous opponents when a 58-year-old man who probably hasn't boxed in, what, 20 years is your best opponent. OJ is doing comedy. I predict he won't be the real killer. Hello. Well, this strikes me as I don't believe boxing is fixed, but OJ probably knows the guys from that, Jordan. I mean, I don't think he's too good at 58, but like, a 58-year-old Tyson is better than Nate Robinson or Ben Askren or who was who was the black dude from MMA? Fuck, what's his name? Who's the guy? Jake Paul fought. I'm drawing a blank. Like I see his face, but I don't know his name. Like he was a good MMA. Woodley. Woodley was a great MMA striker, but not a great boxer striker. Um, I mean, he looks in great shape, Tyson, and I don't know if he needs the money. It'll be very interesting. You know, I could absolutely see this being a fixed fight. Like they just agree. Mike Tyson will be like, "Hey, I'll carry you and I'll make you look good, but I'm not going to lose to you. We'll just do a draw." Like, was that one fight McGregor and Mayweather? Like, you could tell there was an agreement by Mayweather. Hey, I'm not going to let you hit me, but I'll let you hit me once or twice, and then I'll just shuck and jive the whole fight. I won't knock you out either. But I mean, who's Jake Paul's next fight? Tex Cobb? I mean, but Jake Paul he's a great marketer. I mean, look, we're talking about this fight, um, which is crazy, but between a YouTube star and an ex heavyweight champ from, what, 30 years ago, who probably hasn't fought in at least 20 years. And we're talking about it. That's where Jake Paul's talent is. Um, oh shit. Is that folks, Alex, I think you might be new to the stream. You don't know what happens when you super chat me. Alex Stein, 4.99. Earl rules. Alex Stein, you got a little extra on the Steve Stevens ray gun. I want you guys. Alex, when are you streaming again? Because Alex Stein, Prime Time 99 Stein on Instagram, is the GOAT of trolls. Stop it. Stop it. Alex Stein, 9.99. Earl is a pimp. I will come on your show, and I don't even mind if you troll me. I know you're gonna have some Michael Skakel jokes in the hopper. I get it, but I would love the honor would be mine. We'll plan maybe next month or within the next 2 months. I'll take a trip to Dallas. I'm the king of the one night um, stays. I literally would fly to Dallas, do your show, and be on a plane 2 hours later. I have OCD, ADHD. Like I can't stay. Like my trip to Austin was under 24 hours. So follow Alex Stein. Watch Alex. When do you stream again? Plug your shit. I mean, Alex Stein's the real deal. And because we both like wrestling, we get each other. Now, I believe me and Alex Stein are on sabbatical from being guests on other people's streams. Uh, I don't know why Alex is on sabbatical, but I just, I like doing my own shit. And, I don't like being caught up in the drama. But that's one of the things. And I think me and Alex are very similar from the standpoint of, um, we're like Dabbleverse adjacent. Alex, I wish you could come to Hackamania. Now, I've been getting some DMs saying, Earl, we don't understand how you could be anti-Dabbleverse but still do Hackamania. I'm a comic. I go where the shows are. I don't really want to participate in any of the podcasts because that's just going to turn into sniping each other and talking shit about MLC or Chad or Ray, or I'm not getting involved in that drama. I want to do the stand-up shows, and then, I believe there's an open mic contest. I'll judge because, I'm in a good place, man. I can't get involved in other people's drama. So thank you, Alex Stein. Please follow everyone. Don't hit the like button for me. Go to Alex's channel, subscribe. Let me get his exact YouTube or Instagram handle so you can handle. I don't have an Adam here, so I have to type everything out. Yes, it is. Um, let's see his official profile handle. I don't want to um, give out the wrong. It is Primetime Stein. Follow him, please. The Pimpverse. But Alex is also a pro wrestling aficionado, so I get what he's doing. He's like a combination of Bobby Heenan meets a little bit of Gary Hart. He trolls the trolls. And I know when I do Alex's show, he'll have some things in the hopper against me. Maybe have an ex-girlfriend call in. And believe me, a few would. I get along with most of my exes. But the ones I don't, they're ready to draw blood. But please follow Alex. He's one of the good ones. And thank you for the super chats, Alex. Unnecessary. See, that's why I don't get many super chats, because I actually encourage people to not send them to me. Because I appreciate, it is nice to, get a few bucks for my time. But, as you can see, I read most of the questions. Um, yeah, Alex had a little bit of Jimmy Hart energy for sure. Yes, thank you, Kip Smith. See, I'll plug other people's shit in here. I'm pretty easy to find on the internet. It's just my name, Earl Skakel. One word. It's my handle on everything from Twitter to Patreon to YouTube to Facebook. It's a strange name, so there's not like there's two Earl Skakels out there. So please support Alex Stein, the GOAT of trolls. I would say him and Kevin Brennan are the two best at trolling the trolls. I'm like the opposite. I don't encourage trolls to come in here, and we haven't had too many. I have two moderators in here, the great Kip Smith, who did some nice photos for me. And of course, my number one photo man, Jordan the Lion. Follow his channel. He is one of my dear friends in life. So, and Kip Smith made some very funny photos. I believe they were on Twitter. Hey, if you make another one, Kip, if you could have it say Earlverse, I'll use it in a future thumbnail. I don't know Dan, but I would do it. I love talking wrestling. Um, so I don't know if you can see these. Here's a here's what Kip Smith did. A face swap. I don't know how to do this. I'm Earlhausen. Um, and he did one of Orange Cassidy as well. So yeah, I love talking wrestling. I mean, that's my goal, to be honest with you, kids, with this stream. And I know a lot of you guys are coming in from the Dabbleverse, which I don't mind. But I'm trying to get wrestling fans in here. I'm trying to get hockey fans in here, and then it's just like a free for all. Um, yes, Secret Snake, Kip and Jordan specifically. Jordan made me about 10 new thumbnails that I could um, use as screen grabs for the streams. Um, of course, we are on the Sunday night stream, which is the flagship stream um, for the Earlverse, and then hopefully, I'm still flirting with other times. I did seem to have some success on Thursdays at 4 p.m. The other days at 4 p.m., not so much, to be honest with you. Um, I did a few morning streams that, I'll be honest, didn't do that great. Now on the YouTube analytics, it says most of my fans are online from 12 to 6 Pacific Standard Time. So, but I don't want to go on from 1 to 4 because that interrupts Kevin's thing, and I'm respectful. Although at some point I got to go on, like if you look at the breakdown of streams. I mean, Melton and Shuley go on at 6 a.m. my time, and then Chad's usually on between 10 and 12, and then Kevin's on from I think 1 to 4 usually, and then Ray's on, and then Pat Dixon's on. Although I think Pat's channel is down at the moment. Um, so if I waited till everyone went on, I'd have a stream with 3 people at midnight. Um, it's funny you say that, random guy. I've been watching um, random $1 million Man sketches, and they're so funny. I mean, his best one is when he said he'd give the kid $500 if he could dribble the ball 15 times, and right as he got to 15, he kicks the ball out of the kid's hand. um, I mean, the Penguins don't have a great team this year. Like, if I were them, I would have traded Crosby and Malkin, and at some point you got to rebuild. Like, they're not winning with Crosby and or Malkin. So I know it seems sacrilege and it's a fantasy that you want to see Malkin and Crosby play for the Penguins forever. But like if they would have traded those two at the deadline, they would have had at least 2 to 4 number one picks, 2 to 4 A-level prospects, and probably 2 to 4 um, B-level prospects that, the rebuild's almost done in 2 trades. Um, but I get it. The attendance would probably drop like a rock if Crosby and Malkin aren't there. But at some point you got to start over. Like the Kings made the mistake of after they won the 2 Stanley Cups in 3 years, they kind of kept the core together maybe a little longer than they should have, and then they were bad for a couple of years because they just didn't restock the cupboard of prospects, and now they have. And now you've got Quentin Byfield's probably arguably one of the best young players in the game. He's finally his first 2 years were rough and injury riddled, but now you see Quentin Byfield and go, okay, this is the guy we drafted number 2 overall. Um, and you've got Alex Turcotte finally playing. He's not really made an impression, but like he's at least playing because he was injury prone. You got Brant Clark is, probably the best defenseman in the AHL, but he just can't crack the Kings lineup, which is good. Um, and so it's getting back to the Penguins, I mean, they're an older team now and they're not winning. And, they made a big trade for Carlson and obviously that didn't help them very much. It's not Carlson's fault, but, I think it's like, oh my God, you get Carlson and you're going to have fucking, a power play with Tang, Carlson, Crosby, Malkin, and doesn't really matter. Jeff Carter. That's going to be the number one power play in the league, and they've struggled. And Carlson's not the best defensively. So, at some point, you're going to have to blow up the roster. And can you imagine a team like the Kings? Say the Kings said, "Hey, we'll give you." They'd probably go for Malkin, but either one. I mean, if you were the Kings, you'd be trading Pittsburgh, Brant Clark, probably Kaliev, who just hasn't put it together in LA. Um, two number one picks, and maybe even a player like Matt Roy. Um, so that's probably a pretty fair trade offer for a winger who's at the end of the rope. I had some friends of mine playing the San Diego Gulls. The great enforcer Sandro Sobroka. He had seen me do stand up at a place called Moondoggies in San Diego, and it was a wild, rowdy college bar. And I'm doing all these hockey jokes, and there's only one table laughing. I'm bombing like a madman. And I finally went up to the table, and I'm like, "Why are you guys laughing at the hockey jokes?" And apparently, it was the San Diego Gulls. I had just won. It was either the Turner or the Taylor Cup, and they came there to celebrate. And it was, I'll never forget. It was Sandro Sabroka, Bruce Watson, Sylvain Deschatelets, and the great Arab enforcer Kwamil Elizi, um, American name Charlie. Um, and Bruce Watson, who was a minor league tough guy, he was not on the Gulls. He might have been playing against them, and they were friends. Uh, so uh, San Diego is, it's got a hockey history. You wouldn't think it would, but the Gulls, I believe they're still there. I think they might be the Ducks farm team, if I'm not mistaken. I know the Seattle Kraken's farm team is in Coachella Valley, which is weird. I submitted because Coachella Valley and Palm Springs, Palm Desert, it's known for older women. So I thought the name of the team should have been the Coachella Cougars, but my opinion was not required. So, I mean, the Kings farm team is the Ontario Reign. Um, so you've got some good rivalries, Ontario and San Diego, Coachella Valley, and then you've got the Tucson Roadrunners, where my friend Mr. Mossman is the goalie, Comedy Store favorite. So it's a good time for hockey, and the Ducks have a lot of good prospects. I mean, the Ducks are not very good, but one of the benefits of not being very good is you get great draft picks. I mean, they've got Mason McTavish, they've got Zegras, they've got Terry. They'll have a good pick this year. Um, so it's a good time. The Ducks will be better. I feel bad for guys like Killorn and Gudas who probably they were signed for veteran presence. But when you're Killorn and Gudas, you want to get a crack at another cup, and the Ducks will not be cup contenders for another 2 to 3 years, and that's the length of their contracts. So, um, I think the Cleveland, it's Lake Erie Monsters now. I think the Cleveland Barons moved, and now I think the Lake Erie Monsters are someone's farm team. I want to say the Capitals, but I might be wrong on that. I know back in the day, I had a Dale Purington Diesel Dale Purington. I had a Lake Erie Lock Monsters jersey of his. But I don't really follow AHL hockey that much, especially the East Coast teams. I mean, I do follow the Ontario Reign because they are, like I said, the Kings farm team. So, um, and they have a lot of good talents. They have Akil Thomas, Tyler Madden. Um, you know, who else? Jacob Ingham, who I believe now is in Greensboro. Um, because Kings have a fair amount of goaltending prospects. They have in the Ontario Reign, they have Aaron Dell and Eric Portillo. And then Jacob is, he will be in the NHL at some point. He's I think they're called the Greensboro Growl. I might be off on that, but that's the Kings farm team in the East Coast League. Well, I love hockey. I've always loved it. I mean, I'm a little more focused on the Kings, so I follow the Ontario Reign the most. And my friend Boko Imama, he plays on the Tucson Roadrunners, which is the farm team to the Arizona Coyotes. Um, yes, I mean, before the Monsters, it was the Cleveland Lumberjacks. Um, so how are the ladies in Austin compared to LA? Excuse me. Pretty good. I did not smash. If you guys were wondering what Daddy did, um, I really wasn't there to maneuver, but I had a lot of girls come up to me and tell me I was funny. I probably, if I, back 10 years ago, I probably would have smashed. I was a real horn dog back in the day. Um, so yeah, the Cleveland Lumberjacks, I believe that they were Pittsburgh Penguins farm team, and minor league legend Jock Calendar was like the main guy there. So, um, Cleveland has a rich hockey history. The Cleveland Barons were the NHL team. And then I think they went back to the Cleveland and were called the Barons for the AHL team after the Lumberjacks. And then the Lake Erie Monsters came in. And I forget whose farm team they are. I know the Flyers farm team is the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. I think the Rangers farm team is still Hartford. Not sure who the Islanders farm team is. Um, so, I mean, the minor league teams, and I mean, I think there's one team that's a minor league affiliate for two NHL franchises, which is weird. Because if you're the coach of that team, like, it's weird because you don't know what prospects to play. It depends, I guess, what team you're associated with. It'd be like the Kings and Ducks sharing a team. Like, well, who plays more, the Kings prospects or the Duck prospects? I forget what team. And then there's one team, I think it's Carolina, that doesn't have an AHL affiliate. So their prospects are sprinkled across other teams, I think, which is even stranger. Because in the AHL, you could have, like Carolina prospects playing against each other, which I don't think is optimal for development. Gabriel Killian, my good LA comedy buddy, is in the house. Kings and Ducks equals cucks. Well, I am anything but a cuck, baby doll. Um, Gabriel Killian, one of the great MMA gambling prognosticators. If you're looking for picks, Gabe's the man. And Gabe will tell you that I was undefeated in betting heavyweight fights because I got a real ear for the action. All right, we're going to go a few more minutes here. Yeah, I'm experimenting with the length of streams. So I like doing the shorter streams because I want you guys to want more. Like I'm not going to fucking sit here and do a 5-hour stream trying to bilk you guys of money. Hey, speaking of bilking money, let's thank the tippers tonight. Let's thank the tippers. And primetime Alex Stein is killing it in the super chat area. Well, Gabe will tell you I'm only knowledgeable about the heavyweight division. And the heavyweight division is probably the simplest division to bet because the patterns are pretty true to who wins. But it's also a hard division to pick because these guys are all 240 and up. I would say the average heavyweight is around 255. So, when you got a 255-pound dude, and of course, the day of the fight, they're probably close to 300, because once they get weighed in, they can start eating and shit. Um, you got guys 295. I mean, Bigfoot Silva, probably the night of the fight, was probably close to 290. Um, so it is kind of exciting because you don't know. One punch is all it takes from a Bigfoot Silver, an Overeem, Pat Barry. I mean, and Pat Barry was one of the smaller heavyweights, a Czech Congo. Uh, these are all, obviously Lesnar, Shane Carwin, Paul the Headhunter Buntello. I only like the one song, Small Things, Dylan, to be honest with you. No stories about them other than my friend Brittany Furland was in that video. Yeah, Fabricio Verdum, um, you know, Miocic, John Jones. But I couldn't name too many heavyweights right now, ironically. It's kind of, back in the day when Gabe would come over to watch the pay-per-views, like, I could name you 20 UFC heavyweights, but now I can't really name too many because it's a new breed. And there's not too many of the old guys. I mean, Miocic was he's still around, and John Jones, of course. Ngannou left to do the bare knuckles and boxing stuff. Yeah, Roy Nelson was great. He was like an in shape fat dude. So, and then some of my other favorite, Josh Barnett, Fedor, the tire salesman Brett Rogers. I was a Strikeforce guy too. Not he couldn't compete in the heavyweight division. He'd get killed. He was a light heavyweight. He was like a 205er. So I don't think that the world of MMA, as Gabe will tell you, has evolved. Chuck Liddell was pretty much just a brawler. Yeah, see, I don't know. Here's Gabe. I'm telling you right now, Gabe is very good at the picks. I don't know who any of those guys are. It's just a new breed. Of UFC guys. I mean, most of the guys I watch, are pretty much at the end of the career or they're finished already. So, all right, you kids, we did a solid hour. Yeah, no, I mean, Chuck was legit, but he never really evolved, and he pretty much would just try and knock you out with the overhand right. And nowadays you've got guys who do. Everyone is so well versed in jujitsu and wrestling and striking. Um, and I think guys like Couture, who was a very good wrestler, but he wasn't the hardest striker. And Liddell was a brawler. Tank Abbott was the definition of a brawler. But then when guys like Vitor Belfort started showing up, who was not only a brawler but a skilled practitioner of jujitsu. It definitely, you watch some of those early UFCs and you watch a current UFC. Like I was watching an old fight between was it Justin Poirier and Michael Chandler, and it was unbelievable. It was boxing, it was submission holds, it was um, takedown defense. I mean, it was like a highlight reel of every style. Whereas back in the day, Rampage was a big brawler. Wanderlei Silva, although he was a skilled jiu-jitsu guy, he was pretty much just a brawler. Um, especially the heavyweights. A lot of the Verdum was an interesting heavyweight because he was maybe the greatest jiu-jitsu man in the history of um, heavyweight MMA. Fedor was pretty much, he just trying to hit you with the overhand right, but very good at submissions too. And then you had great wrestlers like Kevin Randleman, Mark Coleman. There's a great MMA documentary. I forget what channel. It might be on Amazon still, about Mark Kerr. Just an interesting documentary if you like old school MMA. And I believe John Jones is fighting Miocic at some point, but I haven't seen any commercials for it, so I don't know. But yeah, Randy Couture was great. I mean, he was certainly you know I think fighting for the title at 47 years old. I mean, I loved Overeem, but he was never really the same once he got off the horse meat, if you believe that. So, and then I mean, I love some of the freak fights. Was it Emmanuel Yarbrough against Donnie somebody? I forget his name. And Emmanuel Yarbrough it's like a 700-pound sumo wrestler, and I think Danny or Donnie something, white guy, probably about my size, 6 feet, maybe 205, beat the shit out of him. Because Yarbrough was so fat, he took a punch and he missed and he fell over. And then the guy, I don't want to say Donnie Lalonde, that's a Canadian boxer. Let me look this up. I don't want to end stuttering and stammering. Let's see. Let's see who this guy was. I'm drawing a blank. Keith Hackney. I wasn't even right. For some reason, I thought it was Donnie. Now let's see. Let's see how big Keith Hackney was. He looked to be about my size, and I'm not a small guy, but I'm certainly not. All right, Keith Hackney, Wikipedia. We'll go to his Wikipedia page. 5'11", 200 pounds. So I'm actually a little taller, and we're about the same weight. I mean, he only had 4 fights, 4 matches, 2 wins, 2 losses. His first win was against Emmanuel Yarbrough and UFC 3 tournament. Second win against the amazing Joe Son, UFC 4 tournament. And then he lost to Royce Gracie by armbar. And then Marco Huas, rear naked choke in 1995. And then he just, kind of left. He's appeared in 2 movies, Super Fights, and doing stunts in Cut. Let's see what he's up to now. He was in on the early days of UFC. But it's crazy, though. Like on paper, you think, okay, here's Keith Hackney. He's 5'11", 200 pounds. Here's Emmanuel Yarbrough. I think he was like 6'7", literally 700 pounds. Oh, he's going to kill this little guy. And, because Keith Hackney had better technique. Is there a documentary on Keith Hackney? I believe there's one on Yarbrough, too. But that was in the early freak show fight days of the UFC, where you had, what was it, Jimerson, Art Jimerson, I think was his name, fighting Royce Gracie with one boxing glove on. It's like, this was out of control. And then Don Fry fighting, I think it was Thomas Hernandez, who was like a 400-pound cab driver. I think they literally found this guy outside the arena and said, hey, do you want to make $500 fighting Don Fry right now? Of course, friend of Inappropriate Earl, the legendary Don Fry, the Predator. That's his nickname. That's not what he actually is. So, all right, you guys. Earl Skakel, Sunday night stream. We'll probably stream. Maybe we'll stream tomorrow night at 4 p.m. We'll see. We'll see the action. And then Tuesday night, I believe I might be going to a Los Angeles Kings game. But check out, follow Alex Stein. Thank you, Alex, for being the number one, the only super chatter, but that's all right. I don't panhandle for money on this shit. Wanted you guys to know how I felt about the Mothership and Red Bands Comedy Club. A-, with the only negative being the Delta experience getting to Austin. But I will say the Delta crew getting to Austin was awesome. So, and shout out to my 4 cowboys in first class. You guys were the real deal. Yes, thank you, Dave. I just want to, and that's what this is, Dave. This is a hang. I'm not talking shit about people. I'm not stream sniping people. I'm not panhandling for fucking money. Just trying to get my name out there. And, this reminds me of when Jim Rome, I remember listening to Jim Rome on some shitty local radio station out of Santa Barbara. And it was literally the same callers. Like, he'd have no callers but Irate Craig and like a couple other people. This is my Jim Rome Santa Barbara show. Hopefully, sooner than later, we'll have hundreds of people in chat just chopping it up. And that is all. Thank you to Kip Smith for being the moderator today. Thank you for Kip and your 2 pictures. Like I said, Kip, Jordan is my main, only thumbnail man. But if you ever want to make an Earlverse thumbnail, I will use it. I'm not trying to get free work. I'm just saying, you know, I accept all thumbnail Earlverse pictures as long as they're in good taste. You know, there's no dirty words allowed in this room. And I certainly don't need any controversial pictures. So this has been the Earlverse Sunday night stream. Earl Skakel, back from Austin, over and out.